You're driving home. The radio is off. The windows are up. The car is perfectly silent, but your mind is screaming. You're gripping the steering wheel so tight your knuckles are white, and there is a heavy, cold rock sitting in the pit of your stomach. It's not the alcohol. It's not the food. Think you were just making conversation. You think you were just being relatable. But let's look at the shadow of what actually happened. You entered a social battlefield because every public interaction is a battlefield of status and leverage, and you walked in without armor. You walked in naked. You assumed that because you are a nice person, everyone else is playing by the same rules of transparency. You assumed that if you showed them your wounds, they would show you theirs. But they didn't, did they? Think about it. What do you actually know about them? What deep, dark, compromising secret did they give you in return? Probably nothing. They gave you surface-level pleasantries. They gave you nods. They gave you prompts. Oh, really? Tell me more about that. And you took the bait. You kept talking. You kept feeding the beast. You created an asymmetry of power. They now know your weaknesses, your anxieties, your plans, and your debts. You know their favorite weather and where they went on vacation. Who holds the leverage in this relationship? This isn't about being paranoid. This is about being awake. The world is full of people who operate on information arbitrage. They collect data. They hoard details. They listen more than they speak, not because they are good listeners, but because they are hunters. And the moment you reveal things you should have kept hidden, the 9 specific things we are going to dissect, you lower your value. Scarcity creates value. When you are an open book, you are abundant. You are cheap. Anyone can read you. There is no mystery, no weight, no gravity to your presence because you are broadcasting your internal frequency on a loudspeaker. Stop. Feel that anxiety in your chest right now? That is your instinct trying to protect you. That is your survival brain screaming that you have made a tactical error. You are realizing that in the pursuit of validation, in the pursuit of being liked, you have sacrificed your sovereignty. You wanted to be seen. But there is a difference between being seen and being exposed. Being seen requires trust. Being exposed only requires a loose tongue and a needy ego. And that's the uncomfortable truth you need to swallow right now. You didn't share that information because it was necessary. You didn't share it because it helped the situation. You shared it because you couldn't handle the silence. You shared it because your ego needed a hit of attention, and the easiest way to get attention is to play the victim or the hero or the chaotic mess. You traded your power for a cheap reaction, and now you're wondering why you feel drained. You're wondering why you feel less than. It's because you left a piece of yourself on the table, and they picked it up, put it in their pocket, and took it home. Over the next few minutes, we are going to perform surgery on this behavior. We are going to look at the 9 specific things, the exact categories of information that you must never, under any circumstances, reveal in public. These are not arbitrary rules of etiquette. These are laws of power. These are the survival mechanisms of the dark psychology landscape. But before we get to the list, you have to sit with this feeling. You have to burn this feeling of regret into your nervous system. Remember the drive home. Remember the knot in your stomach. Remember the shame of oversharing. Because if you don't learn to hate that feeling, you will keep doing it. You will keep bleeding out in front of sharks and wondering why you keep getting bitten. You have to decide, right now, that the momentary comfort of venting is not worth the long-term cost of losing your power. You are not an open book. You are a vault. Or at least, you should be. The problem is, you've spent your whole life being taught that honesty is the best policy, and vulnerability is strength. Those are beautiful concepts for a therapist's office. They are beautiful concepts for a marriage. But in the public sphere, in the workplace, in the general social market, those concepts are suicide. You are about to learn why silence is the ultimate weapon and why your words are the very thing chaining you down. You're standing in the break room. The coffee machine is whirring. It's just you and a colleague, not a friend, a colleague. There's a lull in the conversation. The silence stretches out for 3 seconds. For seconds, it starts to feel heavy. It feels physical. Your brain interprets this silence as a threat. It interprets the lack of noise as a lack of social grace. So you pull the pin. Honestly, I'm barely keeping it together this week, you say. My debt is piling up and I haven't slept in 3 days. The colleague pauses. They were just waiting for their coffee. They look at you. They give you that pity smile. Oh wow, I'm sorry to hear that. They grab their mug and walk away a little faster than usual. What just happened? You didn't share that because you needed their advice. You didn't share it because they asked. You shared it because the silence made you anxious, and the only currency you know how to spend to buy your way out of anxiety is your own dignity. You leaked. You sprung a leak in the hull of your own ship just to see if the water was warm. Now look at a different scene. You're on a date, or maybe a first meeting with a potential client. You want them to trust you. You want to accelerate the relationship. You've been taught that vulnerability creates connection, so you decide to shortcut the process. You start talking about your ex. You start talking about how crazy your last boss was. You start airing the dirty laundry of your past to prove how open you are. I just have trust issues because my last partner was a narcissist, you say? You think you're explaining why you're guarded. You think you're garnering sympathy. But look at it from their side of the table. They don't see a survivor. They see a person who hasn't processed their baggage. They see a person who badmouths people the moment they leave the room. You think you're building intimacy. In reality, you're handing them a red flag and waving it in their face. You are signaling that you lack boundaries. You are signaling that you cannot distinguish between a stranger and a confidant. If you tell them this much on day one, what will you tell the world about them if things go south? You are leaking your unreliability. Let's look at the third micro moment. The validation trap. You're out with a group. Maybe drinks, maybe dinner. Someone else is telling a story about their success. Everyone is listening to them. You feel the spotlight shifting away from you. You feel invisible. Your ego starts to itch. You need to remind everyone that you are a player, too. So you interrupt. Actually, I'm working on something huge right now. I can't say too much, but let's just say it's going to change everything for me financially. You drop the hint. You reveal the plan. You mention the investment, the promotion, the big move. You see them nod. You get a few congrats, and that's awesome. But watch the energy in the room. You didn't inspire them. You triggered their envy. You triggered their competitive instinct. Before you opened your mouth, you were neutral. You were safe. Now, you are a target. You have just invited the evil eye into your life. You have alerted the competition. And for what? For 5 seconds of validation? For a momentary ego stroke? You leaked your strategy. You gave away your tactical advantage, the element of surprise, just to feel important for a fleeting moment. Do you see the pattern yet? In every single one of these scenarios, the mechanism is the same. There is an internal pressure, anxiety, insecurity, ego, and you release that pressure by opening your mouth. You treat information like it's infinite. You treat your personal truths like they are cheap flyers you're handing out on a street corner. But information is not infinite. It is the most finite resource you have. Every time you reveal a weakness, you give someone the map to hurt you. Every time you reveal a strength too early, you give someone the motivation to cut you down. Every time you reveal a secret, you give someone collateral. And the worst part? You do it automatically. It's a reflex. You are like a bucket full of holes. You pour energy in, working on yourself, building your life, trying to heal, but you keep punching holes in the bottom with your own tongue. You wonder why you can't hold on to power. You wonder why you feel drained. You wonder why people seem to use you, or copy you, or undermine you. It's because you told them exactly how to do it. You are providing the instruction manual for your own destruction, and you're reading it aloud, chapter by chapter, to anyone who will listen. Stop confusing being real with being loose. Real is knowing who you are. Loose is needing everyone else to know who you are. Real is having nothing to hide, but choosing what to show. Loose is showing everything because you're terrified of having a private self. You need to recognize this pattern right now, not tomorrow, right now. Because the next time you feel that urge to fill the silence, or that urge to impress, or that urge to complain, that is the moment of danger. That is the leak. And if you don't plug it, you will sink. This isn't about becoming a mute. It isn't about becoming a robot. It's about becoming deliberate. It's about understanding the physics of social power. When you speak, you expel energy. When you listen, you absorb information. Who is winning in that exchange? The one expelling or the one absorbing? You have been the one expelling for far too long. You have been the fountain, spraying your essence everywhere, hoping someone drinks it and likes it. It's time to stop being the fountain. It's time to become the reservoir. Deep, still, and full of reserves that nobody knows the depth of. Because the things you are revealing, the 9 things we are about to discuss, are not just TMI. They are strategic errors. They are self-sabotage disguised as conversation. And once you see them for what they are, you will never want to open your mouth again without checking the lock first. Imagine walking into a room, opening your wallet, and throwing cash on the floor. You just stand there, peeling off $100 bills, your hard-earned resources, and tossing them at the feet of strangers. You throw them at the bartender. You throw them at the person standing in the elevator. You throw them at the coworker you barely know. You look at them with desperate eyes, waiting for them to pick it up, waiting for them to say thank you, waiting for them to value you because you just gave them something. But they don't value you. They just look at the money. They pick it up, put it in their pockets, and walk away. They think you're foolish. They think you're careless. And they are richer while you are poorer. This sounds insane, right? You would never do this with your money. You guard your bank account. You lock your doors. You check your credit score. But this is exactly what you are doing with your information. Every fact about your life is a unit of currency. Your secrets are gold bars. Your plans are stock options. Your weaknesses are the combination codes to your safe. These are assets. They have value. They give you leverage. They give you dimension. And you are spending them like a drunken sailor on shore leave. You need to understand the brutal economics of social interaction. We are trading value. When you speak, you are offering a trade. You are saying, here is a piece of me. What will you give me for it? And most of the time, the market value of your oversharing is 0. Actually, it's worse than 0. It's negative equity. Think about the most captivating person you know. The one who commands respect when they walk into a room. Do they babble? Do they tell you their entire life story in the first 10 minutes? Do they complain about their hemorrhoids or their overdraft fees? No, they are an ocean. You see the surface. You see the waves. But you have no idea how deep the water goes. You don't know what's swimming down there. That depth creates gravity. It pulls you in. You want to know more. You lean in. You respect them because you can't read them. Now look at yourself. You are a puddle. Shallow. Clear. Someone can step in you, splash around, see the bottom instantly, and walk on by with wet shoes. There is no mystery. And where there is no mystery, there is no respect. You have been brainwashed by a culture that screams share, post, update, be transparent. Social media has trained you to believe that if it wasn't documented and broadcast, it didn't happen. It has trained you to monetize your privacy for likes. But in the real world, the physical world of power dynamics, scarcity creates value. If diamonds were as common as gravel, nobody would wear them. If you make your thoughts, your feelings, and your secrets as common as gravel, nobody will wear them either. They will kick them aside. This is the gut punch realization you have been avoiding. You are boring people with your authenticity. You are repelling them with your openness. When you dump your trauma on someone too early, you aren't being brave. You are demanding emotional labor. You are handing them a heavy bag and saying, "Here, you carry this for a while." And they resent you for it. When you brag about your next move, you aren't being ambitious. You are seeking premature validation. You are asking for the applause before you've performed the play. And once you get that applause, your brain releases the dopamine, and you lose the hunger to actually do the work. You spent the energy on the talk, leaving nothing for the walk. You are bankrupting your own potential. Every time you reveal one of these 9 things, you are signing a bad contract. You are trading long-term power for short-term relief. You are trading the respect of being a fortress for the pity of being a ruin. And let's go darker. There are people out there, predators, narcissists, Machiavellian climbers, who are scanning for this specific behavior. They love the open book. They love the oversharer. Why? Because you are easy prey. You do the work for them. They don't have to dig for your buttons. You hand them the remote control. I have a fear of abandonment, you say on the 3rd date. Click. They know exactly how to manipulate you now. I feel like my boss doesn't appreciate me, you say at happy hour. Click. The office climber knows exactly how to recruit you against the management, then throw you under the bus. I've got about $50,000 in savings I'm looking to invest, you say at the barbecue. Click. The scammer just found their mark. You think you were just talking. They are taking inventory. This keeps repeating because you operate on the delusion that everyone is your friend. You operate on the delusion that the world is a therapy group. It is not. The world is a hierarchy of competence and power. And in that hierarchy, the one who knows more wins. The one who speaks less wins. You have been losing. You have been losing ground, losing respect, and losing leverage, all while thinking you were just being yourself. It stops now. You are going to learn how to close the vault. You are going to learn the difference between secrecy and privacy. You are going to learn how to be a person of substance, not a person of noise. The silence you are afraid of, that is where your power lives. The mystery you are afraid to hold, that is your armor. We are about to walk through the 9 specific things you must never reveal. These are the gold bars you have been throwing in the gutter. It's time to pick them up, wipe them off, and put them back in the safe where they belong. Let's strip away the modern wellness fluff and look at the cold, hard machinery of human nature. You need a framework that explains why silence is not just polite. It is a weapon of survival. We turn to Robert Greene. In the 48 Laws of Power, Law 4 states, always say less than necessary. This isn't just advice for kings and generals. It is the fundamental law of social physics. Why? Because words are potential energy. When you hold them in, the pressure builds. You become dense with potential. You become unpredictable. When you release them, that energy dissipates. You become deflated. You become known. And once you are known, you can be categorized. Once you are categorized, you can be dismissed. Green writes, "The more you say, the more common you appear, and the less in control." Think about that. Common, less in control. Every time you over-explain yourself, you are signaling submission. You are saying, "I need you to understand me so that I can feel safe." That is the behavior of a child seeking a parent. It is not the behavior of an autonomous adult. Powerful people do not explain. They state. They act. They let their results speak. They are comfortable with being misunderstood because they know that being understood by everyone is impossible and unnecessary. But there is a deeper psychological mechanism at play here, one that goes back to the dawn of predators and prey. It's called signal detection theory. In the wild, animals are constantly scanning for signals. Is that a threat? Is that food? Is that a mate? When you broadcast every thought, feeling, and plan, you are generating massive amounts of noise. You become a chaotic signal. To a predator, you look like a wounded animal thrashing in the water. You are generating splashes. You are attracting attention, but not the kind you want. Conversely, the predator is silent. The predator moves without sound. The predator observes. The predator minimizes their signal until the moment they strike. By oversharing, you are adopting the psychology of the prey. You are making yourself visible to ensure the herd accepts you. Look at me. I am harmless. I am just like you. But the world is not just a herd. There are wolves in the grass. Let's look at another concept, the information gap theory, George Lowenstein. Human curiosity is triggered when there is a gap between what we know and what we want to know. That gap creates a kind of mental itch. We obsess over what we can't see. We are drawn to the puzzle we can't solve. When you reveal everything about yourself, your trauma, your finances, your next move, you close the gap. You solve the puzzle for them. You kill the curiosity. There is nothing left for them to wonder about. You become as exciting as a completed crossword puzzle thrown in the recycling bin. But when you withhold, when you give only a glimpse, you create a canyon. You create magnetism. Why is he so quiet? What is she actually thinking? How did they afford that? Now they are thinking about you. Now they are investing mental energy in you. You occupy real estate in their minds simply by refusing to pay rent with your words. This is how charisma works. Charisma is not loud. Charisma is the tension of the unknown. It is the promise that there is more beneath the surface. And finally, consider the concept of optionality. Nassim Taleb talks about this in Anti-Fragile. When you keep your plans and resources to yourself, you preserve optionality. You can change direction without embarrassment. You can fail without an audience. You can pivot without explanation. But the moment you announce your plan, I'm going to run a marathon. I'm going to start a business. I'm breaking up with him. You have killed your optionality. You are now locked into a path. If you change your mind, you are a hypocrite. If you fail, you are a loser. You have created a public contract that constrains your freedom. Silence preserves your freedom. Silence keeps your options open. Silence allows you to be fluid, adaptable, and dangerous. The 9 things we are about to discuss are the specific areas where you violate these laws most frequently. They are the traps where you surrender your optionality, kill your mystery, and signal your submission. You need to understand that this is not about being secretive in a creepy way. It is about being strategic. It is about recognizing that your private life is the engine room of your ship. You don't invite passengers into the engine room. You keep the door locked. You keep the machinery oiled. and you let them admire the smooth ride from the deck. The moment you open that door and let everyone see the grease, the gears, and the mess, the magic is gone. And the sabotage begins. Why do you do it? If you know, intellectually, that oversharing is bad, if you felt the regret we talked about in Act I, why do you keep doing it? Why does the words vomit out of you before you can stop it? Because it serves a shadow function. It feeds a hunger you don't want to admit you have. You fall for the authenticity trap because you are starving for external emotional regulation. This is the uncomfortable truth. You are using other people as unpaid therapists. You cannot sit with your own anxiety, your own excitement, or your own pain. It feels too big for your body. It burns. So, to lower the temperature, you open the valve. You dump it on someone else. When you tell a stranger about your family drama, you aren't being real. You are soothing yourself. You are offloading the heavy lifting of processing your own emotions onto them. It is an act of selfishness disguised as connection. You want them to say, "It's okay." You want them to say, "You're right." You want them to validate your reality because you don't trust your own judgment. If you were secure in your reality, you wouldn't need a committee to vote on it. Then there is the narcissism of victimhood. This is hard to hear, but often we reveal our weaknesses, our traumas, and our bad luck because it makes us the center of attention. It is a twisted way to feel special. Look how much I have suffered. Look how complex my pain is. It grants you a temporary status, the survivor, the martyr. It forces people to treat you with kid gloves. It lowers the expectations placed upon you. If everyone knows you're going through a lot, they won't expect you to perform at a high level. It is a subconscious strategy to lower the bar for yourself. And let's talk about the intimacy shortcut. Real intimacy takes time. It takes months, years of shared experiences, reliability, and gradual trust. That's hard work. That's slow. You want the drug now. So you use trauma dumping as a hack. You think, if I show them my naked soul right now, we will be best friends instantly. It's like trying to microwave a gourmet meal. It might get hot, but it's going to taste like rubber. You are confusing intensity with intimacy. You get a rush of intensity when you overshare. The air gets thick. Eyes lock. Hearts race. But that intensity fades as soon as the check comes, and you are left with a stranger who knows your darkest secrets, and you have no foundation to hold that weight. You are vulnerable to this tactic because you have a leaky boundary system. Somewhere along the way, maybe in childhood, you were taught that you didn't have the right to privacy. Maybe you had a parent who demanded to know everything. Maybe you were punished for keeping secrets. You learned that love means total enmeshment. You learned that keeping something to yourself is a form of betrayal. So now, as an adult, when you try to hold a boundary, you feel guilty. You feel like you're lying. You feel like you're being fake. So you swing the door wide open. Come on in. Look at everything. I have nothing to hide. You wear your lack of boundaries as a badge of honor. But it's not honor. It's a lack of self-respect. It creates a dynamic where you attract parasites. People who love boundaryless others. Narcissists love an oversharer. Manipulators love an open book. You are signaling to the wolves that the fence is down and the sheep are waiting. You fall for it because you think you are buying love with your truth, but you are selling your sovereignty for a discount. You need to understand that keeping things to yourself is not lying. It is containment. A battery works because the energy is contained. If you crack the battery open, the energy leaks out, the acid burns you, and the power is gone. You need to become a battery. You need to hold the charge. You need to learn to sit with the discomfort of being unknown. You need to learn to self-soothe. You need to learn that your validation must come from the mirror, not the gallery. Until you fix this internal mechanism, this need to be validated, regulated, and pitted by others, you will continue to hand them the ammunition to destroy you. Now, let's get specific. Let's look at the first 3 strategic errors. The things that destroy your future before it even begins. Let's open the file on the first 3 deadly sins of conversation. These are the blueprint errors. These are the things you reveal about your future that ensure that future never happens. 1. Your next move, the strategy. You have a plan. You're going to quit your job. You're going to write a book. You're going to move to a new city. The excitement is burning a hole in your chest. You want to tell someone. You want to see their eyes widen. You want to hear, "Wow, that's brave." Stop. The moment you announce your next move, you have lost the war. Why? First, there is the premature dopamine release. Psychologically, when you tell someone your goal and they congratulate you, your brain registers the social reward as if you have already achieved it. You get the satisfaction of the finish line while you are still at the starting block. Your motivation evaporates. You just ate the dessert before the meal. You have no hunger left to hunt. Second, you have alerted the saboteurs. I'm applying for the manager position, you tell a coworker. Guess who is now also applying for the manager position? Or guess who is now going to whisper in the boss's ear that you seem distracted lately? By revealing your move, you allow your enemies to build countermeasures. You allow them to block you. Third, you invoke the accountability trap. If you change your mind, which you have the right to do, you now have to explain yourself to an audience. I thought you were moving to Paris? I thought you were launching that podcast. You are now painting yourself into a corner. The fix, move in silence. Checkmate them before they even know you're playing. Let the results be the announcement. 2. Your financial reality, the resources. This is a double-edged sword, and you bleed on both sides. If you reveal you are struggling, you lose respect. In a cruel world, people associate poverty with incompetence. You become a charity case. People stop offering you opportunities because they think you are desperate or unstable. They don't hire the person who needs the money. They hire the person who is good at the job. Desperation stinks, and money talks. If you reveal you are wealthy, you become a target. Suddenly, the check always comes to you. Suddenly, people have great investment opportunities for you. Friends start acting weird. They start keeping score. Must be nice to afford that, they say with a passive-aggressive smile. You attract leeches who like your lifestyle, not your character. Money is the ultimate taboo for a reason. It changes the power dynamic instantly. The fix, be vague. I'm doing okay. I manage. Business is steady. Never give a number. Never show the bank statement. Let them guess. If they think you're poor, let them underestimate you. If they think you're rich, let them wonder. 3. Your ambitions, the vision. This is different from your next move. This is your dream. The big one. The I want to change the world one. When you share a massive ambition with small minds, they will attack it. Not because they hate you, but because your ambition threatens their mediocrity. That sounds risky. Do you really think you can do that? Most businesses fail in the first year. They will project their fears onto you. They will plant seeds of doubt. And because these are people you trust, those seeds will grow. You will start to second-guess yourself. Maybe they're right. Maybe I am aiming too high. You are casting pearls before swine. You are handing your fragile, baby dream to people who have clumsy hands. They will crush it, not out of malice, but out of carelessness. The fix, Protect your vision like it's a candle in a hurricane. Cup your hands around it. Only show it to people who have fire of their own. For everyone else, you're just working on some projects. Keep it boring. Keep it small, until it's too big to hide. These three things, your move, your money, your ambition, are the blueprints of your life. When you hand the blueprints to the enemy, don't be surprised when they find the thermal exhaust port and blow up your Death Star. Keep the blueprints in the safe. Now we enter the danger zone of emotional bonding. This is where the modern advice to be vulnerable leads you straight into a trap. These are the things you share because you want to be understood, but they are the things used to dismantle you. For past resentments, the baggage. You're sitting with a new partner or a new friend. You start talking about your history. My ex was a psycho. My last boss was a tyrant. I've been screwed over by so many friends. You think you are explaining your scars. You think you are justifying why you are guarded. But listen to what you are actually saying. I am a victim. I am bitter. I haven't moved on. When you trash talk people from your past, you aren't hurting them. They aren't in the room. You are hurting your reputation. The person listening is doing the math. If they talk this way about them, they will talk this way about me. And there is a darker implication. If everyone in your past was crazy or toxic, there is only one common denominator, you. You are signaling that you have poor judgment and character, or worse, that you are the one who creates the drama. You are waving a giant red flag that says high conflict personality. The fix: make your past a black box. If asked, keep it brief and neutral. It didn't work out. We had different values. I learned a lot and moved on. Never let them see the anger. The anger is proof you are still controlled by the past. 5. Family drama, the soft underbelly. My mother is a narcissist. My brother is in and out of rehab. We don't talk to my dad. These are your deepest wounds. They are the core of your identity. And because they are so painful, you feel a compulsion to share them to explain your behavior. But when you reveal your family dysfunction to the world, you are handing strangers the ultimate leverage. You are showing them exactly where your buttons are installed. If a manipulator knows you have daddy issues, they know exactly how to play the authority figure to control you. If they know you crave maternal approval, they will love bomb you with nurturing energy and then withdraw it to make you chase them. You are giving them the blueprint of your childhood trauma. You are telling them, here is exactly how I was broken before. So if you want to break me again, just hit this spot. Furthermore, it looks messy. In a professional or social setting, family drama smells like instability. It makes people question your reliability. The fix: your family business is family business. To the outside world, you present a united front or a respectful silence. My family is complicated, like everyone's. That's it. Do not let them see the cracks in the foundation. 6. Your weaknesses and insecurities, the kick-me sign. I'm really bad at confrontation. I have major imposter syndrome. I get really anxious when people don't text back immediately. Stop. You think you are being humble. You think you are being relatable. No, you are painting a target on your back. You are handing the enemy a weapon and pointing it at your own head. If you tell a colleague, I'm bad at details, guess what they will look for in your next report? Every single typo. You just primed them to see your failure. If you tell a romantic interest, I get anxious when you pull away, you just gave them the remote control to your nervous system. Now, whenever they want to make you dance, they just have to go silent for 6 hours. You are explicitly stating, here is how to hurt me. Here is how to exploit me. In a competitive world, why would you ever advertise your lack of armor? The fix: Work on your weaknesses in private. Fix them in the dark. In public, you present competence. If you are bad at confrontation, don't say it. Just learn to be assertive. If you have imposter syndrome, fake it until you make it. Never confess to the crime of being weak before you've even been accused. These three things, your resentments, your family, your insecurities, are the chinks in your armor. When you cover them up, you look invincible. When you point them out, you are begging to be stabbed. Keep the armor on. We are now in the territory of social suicide. These are the things you reveal because you think they make you look good, or smart, or interesting. You are wrong. They make you look arrogant, fanatical, and dangerous. 7. Your good deeds, the virtue signal. You helped a friend move. You donated to a charity. You bought lunch for a homeless person. And now, you're telling the story at dinner. You're waiting for the that's so sweet. You're waiting for the validation of your morality. I just can't stand to see people suffer, so I gave him $50. Here is the uncomfortable truth. The moment you brag about a good deed, it ceases to be a good deed. It becomes a transaction. You just bought social credit with someone else's misfortune. You used a suffering human being as a prop for your ego. And people can smell it. They might smile and nod, but deep down, they feel a twinge of disgust. They see you as performative. They see you as someone who only does good when the cameras are rolling or when there is an audience. It breeds cynicism. It makes them wonder, what are they doing when nobody is watching? Real virtue is silent. Real character is what you do in the dark. If you need to advertise your kindness, you aren't kind. You're a narcissist with a PR strategy. The fix: take the secret to your grave. If you help someone, lock it away. The only reward you get is the feeling of doing it. If that's not enough for you, then you didn't do it for them. You did it for the applause. 8. Your enlightenment, the preacher. This includes your politics, your religious awakening, your diet, or your sudden realization about how the world really works. You've read a book. You've watched a documentary. You've taken the red pill, or you've woken up. And now, you have to save everyone else. You have to debate at the dinner table. You have to correct people's language. You have to explain why their lifestyle is toxic. Actually, if you look at the data, you think you are being an intellectual leader. In reality, you are being an insufferable bore. When you push your beliefs on others, you trigger their psychological immune system. They dig in. They defend their identity. You aren't changing minds. You are creating enemies. You are drawing a line in the sand and forcing people to choose sides. And unless you are in a room full of clones, you just alienated 50% of the people present. You are signaling rigidity. You are signaling that you are possessed by an ideology. And people who are possessed are terrifying because they stop seeing individuals. They only see converts or heretics. The fix: live your truth. Don't preach it. If your lifestyle is superior, let your results prove it. If your politics are better, let your happiness prove it. People follow examples, not lectures. Be the example. Shut up about the theory. 9. Other people's secrets, the traitor. This is the unforgivable sin. The final nail in the coffin of your reputation. You're trying to bond with someone. The conversation lulls. So you offer up a juicy piece of information about a third party. Don't tell anyone. But did you hear about Sarah? I probably shouldn't say this, but you think you are building intimacy by sharing exclusive information. You are creating a conspiracy of two. But look at the eyes of the person listening to you. They are leaning in, yes. They are enjoying the tea, yes. But in the back of their mind, a steel door just slammed shut. They are thinking one thing and one thing only. If they are doing this to Sarah, they will do this to me. You have just proven, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that you are a leak. You are a double agent, like a cross-examination. You walk into a room, and you feel the invisible jury staring at you. You feel the need to present evidence. You feel the need to testify. I'm late because the traffic was crazy and my alarm didn't go off. I'm not drinking tonight because I'm on a cleanse, not because I have a problem. I'm wearing this because it's the only clean thing I had. Who asked? Nobody asked. You are testifying to a courtroom that is empty. You are the defendant, the lawyer, and the bailiff, all running around in a circle, sweating, trying to prove your innocence to a judge who isn't even paying attention. This is the defendant mindset, and it is the fastest way to lose respect. When you constantly explain yourself, you are implicitly accepting a lower status. You are saying, I am accountable to you. You are the authority. Please accept my excuse. You are handing them the gavel. You need to switch roles. You need to become the judge. Does a judge explain why they sustained an objection? No. They say sustained. Does a king explain why he wants the wine? No. He gestures. This is the fortress mindset. A fortress doesn't have windows on the ground floor. It doesn't have a welcome mat. It has high walls. It has a drawbridge. It is imposing. It implies that what is inside is valuable, and if you want to see it, you have to be invited. You are currently living in a glass house, throwing stones at yourself. You need to install the black box protocol. In engineering, a black box is a system where you can see the input and you can see the output, but you cannot see the internal workings. You don't know how it processes. You just know it works. Become a black box. Input: someone insults you. Black box processing: silence. No reaction. No defense. Output: you look at them, bored, and go back to work. Input: someone asks about your finances. Black box processing. Internal calculation: this is none of their business. Output: a vague smile. I'm doing fine. Do you feel the power in that? The power of refusing to show your work? You are terrified of this. You are terrified that if you don't explain yourself, people will misunderstand you. They will think carrying the frantic, buzzing energy of a people pleaser. Dignity is slower. It is quieter. It is grounded. The fortress mindset isn't about isolation. It's about selection. You still have windows. You still have a door. But you hold the key. You decide who comes in. You decide what they see. And you never, ever leave the door propped open just because you're lonely. You build the walls not to keep people out, but to see who cares enough to knock. And for the ones who don't knock, the ones who just want to peek in the windows and steal your secrets, they get nothing but your reflection staring back at them. You are standing at a fork in the road. To your left is the path of the open book. It's the path you've been walking. It feels comfortable. It feels familiar. It feels nice. On this path, you continue to spill your guts to strangers. You continue to seek validation for your pain. You continue to announce your plans before you execute them. And on this path, you will continue to bleed. You will be used by opportunists. You will be mocked by the envious. You will be drained by vampires. You will wonder, year after year, why you can't seem to get ahead, why your relationships feel hollow, and why you feel so incredibly tired. You will remain a resource for others to mine until you are empty. To your right is the path of the black box. This path is quiet. It is lonely at first. It requires discipline. It requires you to kill the part of your ego that screams, "Look at me." But on this path, you gain something you have never truly had: sovereignty. When you stop leaking information, you start accumulating power. You become a battery that charges itself. You become a person of gravity. When you speak, people listen because you don't waste words. When you act, people are surprised because they didn't see it coming. This is not a personality change. This is a survival strategy. So, here is your code of silence. This is the contract you sign with yourself today. 1. The 3-second rule. Before you answer any personal question, pause for 3 seconds. In those 3 seconds, ask yourself, does this person need to know this? Or do I just want to tell them? If it's a want, swallow it. Let the silence burn. 2. The redirect. When someone probes for your 9 things, your money, your drama, your plans, you do not freeze. You deflect. You become a mirror. How much do you make? Enough to get by? How about you? How is your industry doing? Turn the spotlight back on them. People love talking about themselves. Let them. They will leave the conversation thinking you are fascinating, even though they learn nothing about you. 3. The need-to-know basis. Treat your life like a classified operation. Your partner gets level 1 clearance. Your best friend gets level 2. The coworker? Level 10. The stranger at the bar? No clearance. Stop giving top-secret files to people without security clearance. 4. The internal vault. Find a safe place for your emotions that is not another person. Write it in a journal. Talk to a therapist who is paid to keep secrets. Scream into a pillow. Meditate. Pray. Process your stuff privately so you can present yourself publicly with composure. Do not use the world as your waste disposal unit. 5. The joy of the secret. Learn to enjoy the feeling of knowing something they don't. When you have a big win, celebrate it alone or with your partner first. Feel the warmth of that secret. It's a special kind of fuel. It makes you smile a secret smile. That smile is more powerful than any boast. This is the binary choice. You can continue to be the loud, anxious, open person who begs to be understood. Or you can become the formidable, silent, potent force who demands respect without saying a word. The next time you are in a room, and the silence gets heavy, and the urge to speak rises in your throat like bile, don't hold it. Feel the pressure. That pressure is your power returning to you. Close your mouth, open your eyes, and watch the world change around you. Because the most dangerous person in the room is never the one making the most noise. It is the one who is watching, listening, and waiting. Be the one who waits.